Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is December 5th, 2024, and Bitcoin has recently broken the $100,000 resistance. We're over 100K. What happens next? This is what we're going to talk about. If that sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day, right? 100K Bitcoin, right? This is something people have been talking about for a long time. It's a nice round psychological resistance. I mean, 6 figures per Bitcoin. That's amazing. And it's all over the news, okay? You can see, I'm going to open up a new window right here. Let's see. Let's just go through real quick. All right. And you can see right there, we have one already. Look, I didn't I didn't set this up. I'm trying to prove a point. This is why I just open a new browser. You can see there's one Bitcoin over 100,000K, right? There's one new story. Let's see if there are any more. There's another crypto one. That's important. Just keep that in mind. All right. And I'm making a point here, so stay with me. That's odd because there should be more, but already two. Oh, okay. There's a third right here. Just going down the news feed. Okay. There's a third crypto, right? Fourth crypto. And my point is what? It's in the zeitgeist. It's being talked about in the news. Your mom, your brother, your father, your cousin, your uncle, your aunt are probably sending you messages saying, hey, Bitcoin's over 100,000K, congratulations. People are probably going to buy even more. Okay? So that's my first point. There is something to be said for sell signals, okay? And this is, again, just one data point. So don't say, oh, Dean, that's just, trust me, we're going to get into much more. And you all know me. If you watch this channel, it's technical analysis, technical analysis. That's what I really rest my laurels, or I don't rest my laurels, but I hang my hat on. But I do also pay attention to other indicators, and that to me, when so many people are talking about it, it's all over the news. If I'm at resistance, I want to pay attention. I'm really, really curious. So let's dive into the technicals, right? Already, we should start to feel suspicious about any continuation given the fact that it's all of a sudden so popular given this break of high psychological resistance. Now, let me say, I didn't foresee us breaking 100K, but this still doesn't change our overall thesis, which is that Bitcoin is currently, let me remove this and I'm going to pull it in a second. Bitcoin is currently in a channel of distribution. I talked about this before. When we talk about distribution, we're referring to Wyckoff analysis, where when you go from up until down to up, before you go back down, let's say you want to go back down, the price action needs to pivot. You have to put in a channel of distribution. Same thing as when you're going from down to up, right? So up to down, distribution. Down to up, consolidation of accumulation, okay? So anyway, this is what we look out for. We look out for these channels. So one could say, no, Dean, this isn't a channel. This is clearly a breakout whereby you should expect even more continuation. I'm going to address that right now. Okay, first of all, technically, we are still dealing with a channel until we break, and I'm going to give you on this chart, until we break 105K, we're still technically in a channel of consolidation, or we can still be, I should say, in a channel of consolidation. I would count this break up through the higher resistance of the channel as a Wyckoff UTAD. Okay, up thrust after distribution. And I would count these moves right here that we've seen, right? Rounded top, as our first bits of distribution. So we're looking at the Wyckoff distribution schematic. You go, remember, any channel, just simplify things. Any channel, whether it's a distributive or a cumulative, has to test both the support and resistance multiple times before breaking the channel, okay? So what we're looking for is multiple tests of the top, okay? Obviously, right here, multiple tests of the bottom, okay? And obviously, before you break down from the channel or break out of the channel, you always have to test the midline. So even if this were to break out, you would have to retest the midline before breaking out. And a breakdown would likely come all the way down to the bottom, go back to the midline, and then break down. So this is what we're looking for. This is what we're looking at. So technically we're still in the range of this range. We're still in the bounds of this range, because when we take our inverse 1618 Fibonacci extension, we could do it from here as well if people want to take this as the orthodox low. You could say it's 104,000, but you're still beneath that phi ratio. Anything above the phi ratio would be a break of the range, okay? But right now, as it stands, I'm reading this dynamically as my initial break of structure, my big A wave, okay? And then this is my massive B wave, okay? And so I'm looking at a smaller A, B, C, all right? And like I said, probably do something like this, okay? So basically what I'm saying is, based off of what I'm reading on the charts right now, I expect Bitcoin to range here above this, okay, for a little bit. I don't think much, maybe just a few 4-hourly candles, and then ultimately break down. The other thing I'll say is this. Let's say, okay, and I think this is very useful and helpful as an analyst to always think of the other thing. Let's say you're in a trade. You're always thinking of what would benefit your trade, what would make it so that your trade thesis is viable, and you tend not to psychologically want to look at the opposite, why can't I speak? You tend not to want to entertain any opposing views. But with experience, you learn that entertaining opposing views makes you a better trader, even though it may hurt temporarily, because then you're maybe like, oh, I may be wrong. But that helps because it helps with your risk management and helps also you see more clearly and be less biased. Okay, I'm going to do this exercise with you. Let's say this is indeed a breakout, as most people on X, most traders on X contend. Okay. For one, if I put money in this, I would not like this base. This is not a breakout type base. This is not a base that I would expect continuation on. Why? Because it's a flat base. By that I mean, if you pull the Fibonacci retracement of this bottom and then that move right there, it's not a wave 1, wave 2 situation. There's too much consolidation here before this retest for this to be a wave 1, wave 2 situation. There's just too much. And I would take way too long to explain all of that, but from experience, this looks like a corrective base to me, meaning a base of a flat correction. You know, when you draw a flat correction, a 3-wave move looks like that. That's what that looks like to me. And it's not a clean impulsive base. That's the first thing. The second thing is right here. You've taken already way too long in this bit before continuing. If this were really impulsive, you would have way broken 105. You break the phi ratio. The phi ratio, understand, the phi ratio, whether it's the inverse phi ratio, whether it's the straight phi ratio, 0.0618 or 1.618, that is really the levels you should look at for continuation or break of structure. Breaking that 1.618 of anything really means business, really means you're impulsive. The fact that we're beneath it and we've spent so much time already tells me there's no way this is a wave 1, wave 2 situation. There's no way. It can't be. Remember, wave 1 and wave 2 are characterized, especially in the first of a degree. I hope I'm not losing anybody, but wave 1, wave 2, and Elliott wave analysis, when you're talking about a 5-wave sequence of impulsive price action, wave 1, wave 2 typically take the same amount of time, okay? Already, if, let's say you thought this was a wave 1, this can't be wave 2. It can't be wave 2 because it's already taken way too much time. Wave 1 took 3 hours. Wave 2's already taken 5 hours. There's no way. All right, and this on the 4-hourly time frame. Sorry, not 3 hours. 12 hours up, and whatever 5 times 4 is 20 hours down. There's no way. Let's say you think, oh, wave 1, wave 2's down here somewhere. Well, let's just flip on the hourly time frame, and you can see there is no such thing as a wave 1, wave 2 down here. It's there's nothing, not even close. You can see that you've tabletopped here. There's a strong resistance here. Okay, so it's very likely that you're going to try to break that resistance, but you're going to end up putting in some distribution, a mini distribution up here, which will be, when you zoom back out, and I know this is super technical and super kind of wonky, but I'm going to keep going in the video and show you some indicators that are less technical, okay? So just bear with me. I'm almost done with this point. As of now, my view of all of this that started on the 22nd of November is, again, that's my initial break of structure of this larger wave, right? From 70K all the way up to pretty much 99. That's my big A wave. My B wave is a zigzag, right? And then I'm going to have a secondary break. This is my secondary break. I'm going to have a counter, which is going to be my small b or beta, whatever you want to call it. So I'm basically counting 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot. So 3 AB bases. So, and then my third one could be like this. My third one could be up here. I don't know. Do you understand? Like, this has to be read dynamically because by virtue of its corrective nature, it's capricious, it's unpredictable. You can literally do this. 2 big scenarios that could happen, and they're both on the table. And part of what is the difficult part of reading this type of price action and trading this type of price action is you have to be so flexible in your mind. You have to be so open-minded to what you're seeing, but at the same time, you can't lie to yourself and say, oh yeah, because I want to see that, I'm seeing that. You gotta have certain rules and regulations, right? So I'm doing this with you. Hopefully you're seeing the process. But basically what I'm saying is, if this is my initial break, this is my secondary break. Sorry, this is my initial break. This is my initial counter. This is my secondary break. This is likely my secondary counter. My pivot can be this. My pivot can also be up here. Do you understand? So we could go and break all the way down, come all the way back up. And why is this dotted line here? Okay, my dotted line, my dashed line, that would be a dashed line, is clear resistance that we've been maintaining. So Bitcoin from the 21st to yesterday, right, Wednesday, was maintaining this resistance right? You can see by the dashed line, okay? Because that resistance was steadfast for many days, if you want to continue, if you claim to be bullish, what you're going to have to do is retest it and then continue up. And just as I said a few moments ago, that's unlikely given that price action. So what's more likely to happen is when you do eventually break down from what I think is a secondary test and secondary retest, or small a, small b, you come down and you have to retest previous resistance, or you have to basically respect it. You have to retest it as resistance. So basically, you're going to do something like that. I think that has to happen at some point in time. It either has to happen in the pivot or has to happen in the first impulse down. So that is an important point. If we come down, we're going to likely come back up here. And if we reject from this, that's a confirmation of a much bigger move to the downside. And let's wrap our technical analysis up by saying that much bigger move to the downside looks like this. Okay, and I've said this before, the way I do my analysis is dynamic. I take if nothing happens, I won't even make a video. If nothing material changes, I won't even make a video. It's a waste of your time and waste of my time. But if something material happens, I'm going to make a video and I'm going to try and explain it to the best of my ability. And, my overall thesis hasn't changed. My overall thesis has been that we're retesting 70K, and that's still my level. My overall thesis is that we break down from this level, and this is a local market top. That still hasn't changed. My overall thesis is that this is a distributive zone, and if you're buying here, you're buying the top. If you're buying here, you're buying the Pico top. You're buying the UTAD. That's literally the top of the top of the top. You will kick yourself for not taking profit there. Anywhere taking profit here, or even here, or even here is good trading. People don't understand that. People don't understand that good traders don't have to sell the Pico top. Sometimes you get lucky and you do. But a good trader systematically looks for top signals and systematically sells at or near the top, systematically beats the market. A bad trader gets greedy and buys tops, ignoring all of the technical and other signals that I'm going to show you just a second, telling you that a trend is exhausted. So what we're likely to do is come down at some point here. At some point, we're going to have to retest that. It's either going to be like this, or we come all the way the hell down here to retest this resistance as support, bounce off of it, and then go down. That's how I've updated my line. So we don't know. But at some point, this has to be retested. These 2 points are going to be bounces. One is going to be a support bounce. One is going to be a resistance bounce. I don't know how it's going to look like, but I think that is more likely than not. Let's move on. Quickly, before we move on from this chart, let's look at the 4-hourly time frame. What do we see on the 4-hourly time frame? We're crossed bearish on the 4-hourly time frame. That's not good as an indication of bullishness. If anything, even when you're up in this overbought territory, what you see is something like this. It'll stay bullish and it'll stay in overbought territory. Just fine. You see it all the time in really bullish trends. But the fact that it's open so much on the 4-hourly time frame is not good. Okay, hourly time frame, what do we see? Okay, it's crossed bearish, but it's about to cross bullish, which leads me to believe that you're going to get a little move up here to continue, right? So if this is small a, small b, you get, if this is, what is this? A, B. Okay, this may be the last one right here. Boom, boom. Okay, I think that's what you get here. Okay, this may be even the pivot. I don't know. Hard to count while it's happening. It's always easier to count after the fact. Okay, almost done. Now, let's look at the indicators. What indicators are telling me that my overall thesis for Bitcoin being at a local market top is correct? Okay, Let me fix this chart. Guys, if you're getting value, please like, share, and subscribe. Consider buying me a coffee at the pinned comment below. This is the US market, or the Bitcoin dominance chart, okay? Long story short, Bitcoin dominance chart is basically telling you when to buy altcoins and when Bitcoin's going to pump and when Bitcoin is going to dump, okay? If Bitcoin dominance is going up, likely than not, more likely than not, that Bitcoin's going to dump and everything else is going to dump even harder. Bitcoin dominance is going down, Bitcoin is likely going to hover, and altcoins are going to pump, or Bitcoin's going to pump a little bit and altcoins are going to pump a lot more. Okay, what do you see here on the weekly time frame? You see a big hammer candle, meaning it's likely to reverse a bit. What do you see here on the weekly time frame? You see a strong area of previous consolidation on the way up, okay? It was like a lot of consolidation. That is kind of what you're finding support in right now, okay? So chances are that this area here is going to serve as a temporary support. Now, let's zoom in on the daily time frame. Okay, what do you see here? You see a double bottom. Okay, you see a double bottom. And you can clearly see a breakdown. We chopped down. And you had... Let's clean this up. Okay, and again, this is technical analysis, but technical analysis of an indicator. And this is a very helpful indicator because it tells you a lot about what's going on in the market on a lot of time frames and what's likely to happen. So what I'm seeing here is clearly lost support on the Bitcoin dominance chart. Let me make that line solid. Okay, so I think you can see it too, right? You were in this chop and you hit your head on multi-year resistance, probably 10-year resistance. You come down, you lose the level. I thought we were going to hold that level. We lost it. What do you think is happening now? If we're going to come down, if we're going to continue, what's going to happen, what has to happen is this multi-month level of support that was lost has to be retested as resistance. This is basic technical analysis. Basic technical analysis, it insists, it demands that levels of support lost be retested as resistance. That's called an SR flip. Levels of resistance lost be retested as support before continuing upwards. That's called an RS flip. That's basic technical analysis, support and resistance, understanding levels and how levels are treated by price action. So when we lost it right here, it's likely, given this double bottom, we come back, retest it as resistance before continuing down. That is my indication for the real altcoin season. People are calling for altcoin season, and you have all these days where altcoins are negative. Some are pumping 30%, some are like pumping 2%. That ain't altcoin season. Trust me, when it comes, you'll know. When it comes, you'll know, and there won't be any doubt. And it doesn't matter. People won't have time to talk about what's pumping. It'll be everything pumping all the time for days in and days out. And then for a week, everything corrects hard as hell. And then we start up again. It's really just printing money season. That happens there in my estimation. That's a retest. And actually, if you pull a fib on this trend, this wave down, what do you see? What do you see? Well, you see that a retest of this wave on that line is a 0618 retest. And what do we know about 0618? It's resistance when you're below it, support when you're above it. We're currently below it. It's confluent with the level. This is a very high probability move. It's more likely than not to happen. So if I'm trading altcoins to the upside, if I'm buying altcoins, I'm waiting using this Bitcoin dominance indicator. I'm waiting till it hits this. Okay, one last thing and we're going to get out of here. Okay, and this again is stuff I'm looking at, right? Because you know, sometimes it takes time. I've been saying that Bitcoin looks choppy for a while now. We've been chopping up a little bit here, a little bit there, and it's taking conviction and re-examination of the charts and the indicators. Hey, am I right? Was I wrong about this? Are we just gonna fly to 150? So many people are going to be disappointed because they're acting sloppy. And what makes you act sloppy more than anything? Greed, right? That's why they call it fear and greed. The market's dominated by fear and greed. It doesn't matter what your skills are. If you haven't mastered, and I mean mastered with a capital M, your psychology, you're going to be subject to that fear and greed. The fear of missing out, the greed of, oh my God, look at my portfolio. It's up so much. I'm so rich. I'm such a genius. This has to continue. I'm going to look away of everything that I know, everything that I've learned, and I'm going to just say it's going to keep going up no matter all of the breaks of trend that I'm examining. Okay, now, the US dollar currency index has clearly broken trend. Speaking of breaking trend, right? That's the trend. That's the larger trend. This is clearly a break. And this is even more of a break, right? When you're doing stuff like this and you're basically spending time going sideways, it's not good for continuation. Very unlikely to continue. What's likely to happen, though, is before you go down, you retest, pivot, then dump. Okay? So again, if this is true, what you should expect from the US dollar currency index is a strong move up, because currently what I'm seeing on this chart on the 4-hourly time frame is this was an initial break, okay, of this trend right here. This is a retest, okay? So you could call this an A wave, you can call this a B wave, pivot, C wave. At the end of the day, the US dollar currency index is putting in an A, B, C correction. Everybody knows that. A, B, C correction to the downside. It's currently in a B wave. That B wave has a base. Remember, B waves, flat corrections based like this, right? We talked about that earlier in the video. This is what it looks like. Boom. And that, to me, if indeed it's true, and look at the 4-hourly stochastic RSI indicator, it's telling you I'm coming up. I'm coming up. That's a big dump in Bitcoin. Because remember, US dollar currency index, if the US dollar is strong, the US dollar is going up, then the relative value of risk on assets, Bitcoin, stocks, all that stuff, they come down, okay? So that big move that's on the charts, that's more likely than not to happen, with this double bottom, will give you a big dump in Bitcoin. This is, again, giving me confidence to, hey, wait, re-examine. Your overall thesis is more likely than not correct. You're likely experiencing in Bitcoin a local market top, a distribution pattern. You should take profit. Keep telling people to take profit responsibly. Keep telling your clients to take profit responsibly, and wait to buy in. So many people are saying you're dumb if you haven't bought yet. We're going to 150 in 7 days, like all kinds of stuff. Look through social media. So that's it from me. I don't want to make this too long. It's already long enough as it is, but I thought I should make it, I thought I should give it the respect it deserved, given that I haven't made a video in a few days. And this is an important part. I mean, there's people, some of my clients, some of you all out there watching this video as, part of your research, trying to figure out, wait, is Bitcoin going to pump from here? Should I have taken profit? Should I buy back in? This is that video for you. So hopefully this helped you. Again, if you did get value, like, share, and subscribe. Consider buying me a coffee. You can buy my new portfolio consultation service, right? That's like $150 on Buy Me a Coffee, or you could throw me $5 on Buy Me a Coffee. It doesn't matter. It is all the it's all in the gesture. It's all in the intention. Okay, even a like. If you have nothing, a like, I appreciate. A subscribe, I appreciate. All right, take care, guys. Talk to you soon.